Brock Purdy has to be one of the most hated young quarterbacks across the league, and while a lot of that has to do with his draft status, recently the hate has kind of escalated, with Brock Purdy playing probably his worst game, if we're honest, against the Cleveland Browns. But in my opinion, he did enough to prove that he put his team in position to win, specifically at the end of the game. Going into Purdy's last drive, he was largely ineffective throughout the day. He was starting from his own 25 and had the task to drive 45 yards in a total of 1 minute and 34 seconds. He was able to do it, but Jake Moody wasn't able to make the kick. Before we go into that, I do want to mention that this is a great sign. Great quarterbacks like Tom Brady or even Joe Montana have had games where they've thrown interceptions and have struggled, but they've come back when it came crunch time. And that's exactly what Brock Purdy did. He put his team in position to win. Starting out on Purdy's first play, I don't necessarily hate the read, but Purdy probably wants this ball back. Jauan Jennings is a good target, but he does have that help over the middle. Another great target on this play would have been Ray McCloud. He comes open pretty quickly, and with the pocket collapsing around him, perhaps that might have been a better decision. But in the heat of the battle, I don't hate this decision at all. Once again, the Niners go back to a concept where there's man beaters on the bottom of the screen with quick outs, but Purdy decides to target Brandon Ayuk on one-on-one coverage. I don't hate him for this call because earlier in the season, Brandon Ayuk came away with a couple of these and Purdy were able to connect. But once again, not a bad decision, although it is second down, you could easily have hit Jauan Jennings or George Kittle on the bottom of the screen on those out routes. So with 2 incompletions, Purdy's faced with a tough third down. A lot of his wide receivers are covered on this play, but what I love is he finds the guy with the best leverage, and that's Jauan Jennings. He throws it towards him, and while Purdy might not have known that he would have got a holding call, I do love that he notices which guy's in a bad position. And I think quarterbacks often have the tendency to be able to do this, at least great ones. I mean, when you slow this play down, you can see Purdy releasing it as soon as he sees the DB just basically jump on Jauan Jennings' back. I would argue Purdy probably saw this when the play was happening and knew a flag would come, and that resulted in the Niners drive really getting going. This next play, Purdy makes a nice throw, but I also just want to talk about this concept and Brandon Ayuk's route running. He has some of the best routes I've ever seen, I think, especially on this whip route. I consistently see him burn guys, especially in the red zone, and I really love this play for him. Additionally, Brandon Ayuk was able to pick up a ton of yards, and I don't really know what Cleveland was doing here. But one of the key things to mention here is not to undervalue what Brock Purdy did. He was under pressure, not on just this play, but throughout the game, and was able to deliver a nice ball when it counted. Following this play, Purdy's able to get his team up to the line of scrimmage relatively quickly with about a minute remaining. Purdy targets Jauan Jennings, and it's a nice read, but in the future, it would be great to see Jauan Jennings and Purdy connect. These are additional yards, but I'll take the time just stopping. The Niners go back to another man beater with Jauan Jennings helping Brandon Ayuk get open here. Purdy's able to deliver once again with pressure in his face. This next throw from Purdy might be my favorite of the entire game. He's facing pressure like he did throughout the game, and this is really where he seemed to struggle at times. But they put him in a pressure situation and had to make a big boy throw. Purdy was able to do it, find Jauan Jennings, pick up the first down, and put his team in a good position to make a field goal. While this wasn't Purdy's best game, I thought it was impressive to see a second-year player who really hasn't even started a whole season yet be able to do this. And with Purdy being so young, in the future, he'll learn from these experiences and get better. And ultimately, saying that Purdy can't improve or that he's not an elite quarterback just because of one struggle is kind of ridiculous. I mean, Joe Montana's had 4 interception games. Tom Brady's looked bad at times. It's just part of playing this sport and growing. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts on Brock Purdy. And I was impressed not by Brock Purdy's overall day, but his ability to kick it up a notch when it mattered the most. That's what I care about in a quarterback. Can he lead a team to victory when his back's up against the wall? And Purdy did that. He didn't have Deebo Samuel on the field. He didn't have Christian McCaffrey on the field. He basically had George Kittle and Ayuk to target and Juwan Jennings. He was able to lead his team despite many people saying he wouldn't be able to do that. And while the result didn't go in his direction, if Jake Moody made that kick, we'd have a completely different discussion right now. But now, since I gave my opinion, I'd love to hear your opinion down below. What do you think about Brock Purdy's play throughout the game? Were you upset with him throughout the game? Because I kind of expect a young quarterback to go through these growing pains. I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you liked and subscribed. And as always, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.